episode 9 of Fist of the North Star, 1 point. The keyword for this episode is going to be Brotherhood. Now, I want to avoid doing this as much as possible, but for this video I'll have to say spoiler alert, because the cool thing to spot in this episode is, I don't want to say that it's foreshadowing, that's maybe too loaded of a word, but I think that there is an interesting thing to notice here in relation to what is going to happen later in the anime. So if you haven't watched the anime fully, preferably already, then you can skip this video. For those of you who watched the anime, the one precise thing that I want to talk about in this episode is quite in the beginning of the episode, when a couple flees their village because they're going to be given as sacrifices to the antagonists of this episode and the next one. These two together tell one little story, let's say, and the village searches for this couple so they can give them as sacrifice, and they have to do this, otherwise they're going to be punished by the criminals, by the corrupts. Now, of course, the couple flees, and the villagers find them back, and Kenshiro tries to protect them, but then one of the villagers tells Kenshiro that he's the brother of the man in the couple. And so Kenshiro goes just shocked. Now, when you rewatch this episode, it's very interesting to see this when we know all the brotherhood within which Kenshiro is, and all the things that we witness later. Here's the thing, it's very interesting to see this, because when we think about it, part 1 seems so different to the rest of the anime. Who would have thought that Kenshiro had brothers who also practiced the Hokuto Shinken? So it seems that Kenshiro really hides his emotions pretty well. Now, we talked about Kenshiro's mistake in the analysis of the 5th episode. So in the 5th video in this series, how Kenshiro's original mistake was to put Yuria above the Hokuto Shinken. So he kind of has to put his emotions beside and to fulfill his responsibility as the successor of his martial art. Now, I wouldn't really call this repressing his emotions, but rather to control them and to align his emotions with his responsibility. Now, when we think about this, when we rewatch the anime, we see how Kenshiro does this better and better, and so there is an indication to this even in this episode, when really we couldn't guess, even when for the first time we have a mention of one of his brothers, the first one, Juggy. He's like, no way, could it be him? It's kind of like he never even thinks about his brothers, and we would have never guessed that, because really it's something that he could put beside, and he more and more focuses on his responsibility, and he's very good at doing that. But then there are these little things that give away the reality. Now, of course, we yet have many episodes to watch to discover yet that he has brothers, but I just wanted to talk about this little detail in this episode, how he's shocked when he sees that a brother could basically sacrifice his sibling. And Kenshiro kind of reacts to that and doesn't know what to do, because he has his own experiences, and so he kind of stops there. And then of course he goes and gets and eliminates those who have to be eliminated. But here you go, that's it for this episode.